Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for How to Get Noticed by the Sprouts Forager team, Sprouts Farmers Markets. We do have a little more room in here. We did have a wall collapse, and it's been fixed by a curtain. So there's a little bit more space over here if anyone else is out there and wants to come in. So how many of you here want to be noticed by the Sprouts team? Okay, got a handful. Make sure you're up close. So the natural and organic products industry owes much of its dynamism and success to innovation and health, two key qualities that help set the industry apart from its conventional competitors. Sprouts Farmers Market understands this advantage better than many, and its Forager team is tasked with canvassing the entire industry for innovative, health-forward, and sustainable products to bring on shelf. So joining us today for this Buyerside Chat are members of the Sprouts Farmers Market Forager team. And I'm going to have them, all going to come up. We've got Scott Romano. He's the Vice President Forager, Sprouts Farmers Market. Kim Coffin is the Chief Forager. And Brody Burke is the Foraging Manager. So we're going to start with a presentation, and then we're going to have a bit of a conversation afterwards. And I am actually going to be sitting in for Doug Brown, who wasn't able to make it. And I'm Nancy Coulter-Parker. I'm the Director of Content Marketing at New Hope. So I'll be joining the conversation afterwards.
All right. Well, thank you, Nancy, for the great introduction. And thank to all you guys for being here, supporting us today. We're super excited. You guys got the best seats in the house. It's like couches. That's awesome. I don't know if I have the clicker. The clicker? Oh, there we go. All right, so I'm going to take a couple minutes and just talk about what Sprouts has been up to and a little bit of background on the foraging team. And then Scott and Brody are going to kind of talk about kind of what we're looking for and how brands can be part of the foraging program at Sprouts. So with that, just to give you a little bit of background on the team itself. So originally 2 years ago, we stood up the Forager team, and really for us, I kind of call it our product development brand building team, because it's really comprised of us here on these two on the emerging brand side of that business. Is also our private label team reports up into the Forager team, and then our culinary team. So really it was bringing together kind of three different aspects of our company to really double down on brands that are doing really cool things innovation-wise, and how do we develop products that are differentiated for Sprouts, and kind of leveraging those three areas of our business. So we're learning as we go, and today we're here really to focus on the emerging brand side of it. And as you guys know, Sprouts is always, we build brands. That's kind of what we're really passionate about, is seeing brands come to market and then be able to graduate out and have success in more retailers, and really be able to kind of take that path and that journey. That makes us super excited. So just a little bit of background. I think most of you guys are pretty familiar with who we are, but kind of what really defines us, really our differentiated assortment is we work really hard to curate innovative, healthy, and lifestyle-friendly products that really cater to our core customer. We also, if you haven't been into Sprouts, the layout is, very open. We have produce at the center of the store. It's a kind of farmer's market vibe, and it just is a fun place to shop, and really, it's a treasure hunt in a lot of different ways too, because of the way that we curate and look at innovation. So, and really the last big thing is our team and the culture at Sprouts is why I stay. It's amazing the passion that the teams have, and they live our values every single day of caring, own it, and love being different. And so that's what kind of I'm most proud of, is the teams out there, especially in our stores, that super knowledgeable. They're talking about your brands, they're talking about the new brands we're bringing in, and they're just, they just make it a really pleasant experience for our customers. So that's kind of the key things there. And then really our growth is amazing. I've been with Sprouts for 14 years now. When I started, we had just Henry's Sunflower and Sprouts that just came together. We had 140 stores, and at the end of this year, we're going to have 443 stores, which is still mind-boggling to me. But what's cool about our growth strategy is that we really are bringing access from coast to coast now. I mean, we're filling in kind of that whole bottom half of the U.S., and we're really going into some cool markets, the Southeast, the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, kind of some of our focus areas. And then even in our core markets, like California, Arizona, Texas, there's still plenty of opportunity for us to get into those markets even further, and give access to more of our core customers. So pretty exciting. And we do, our growth is going to be 10%, which is 40, 50, 60 stores a year from here on out. So we pretty much have that down in terms of executing that. So that's really exciting for us as well. And then just a little bit of a background on our core customer. So we think we have, a pretty good, we understand our core customer very well. We know that they are 1.5 times more likely to have folks in their household with attribute needs. This is a really important piece of what we do at Sprouts. They tell us they like organics, and I'll show you that in the next slide. They like to try new products. They pay attention to nutrition labels. Quite frankly, you probably can't ever go into a Sprouts and not find a customer down an aisle staring at ingredient panels. That's why packaging is so important in our business. They're pretty knowledgeable about trends in general. So we're kind of already halfway there in terms of, sometimes they educate us, quite frankly. So that's cool. They like to cook. They like to travel. They like to shop multiple retailers. We know we're not a primary shop, we're a secondary shop, and that's okay with us. But really, we are super excited about this customer, and this is what we do every day when we vet brands, is make sure that we're spot on to what the needs of this customer are. So from an attribute perspective, it's kind of cool, because this has been an evolution of growth. When we watch these attributes every year just continue to grow and grow and grow. But 70% of our products that we sell at Sprouts are attribute based. And just a little bit more context, so like 40% of our produce and 50% of our dairy sales are organic, which is not industry, that is not a normal industry situation. And half of our meat sales are grass-fed. And if you looked at just our egg case, 75% of the eggs we sell are pasture-raised or free-range. So that is our customer telling us that these are the types of products that they're looking for. And quite frankly, they're always pushing us to continue to look for the next best thing. Even on the organic side, like what's beyond organic, the folks that were just on stage talking about regen ag, we're always like, what's the 2.0 version of these attributes that we can continue to look for better ways. So really, it's exciting to kind of see the customer talk to us through what they spend their wallet. So I'm going to turn it over to Scott quick. He's going to get in the details of kind of, our emerging brand program at Sprouts, kind of how it works. It's a team of 3. As you saw on the original slide, I know Laura's here somewhere. She does a lot behind the scenes as we work with brands on a very entry level, trying to get them ready for market. So what this team is doing is really important work at Sprouts, and it is our future, so we take it really seriously. So with that, I'll let Scott.
Great, thank you. Just to go into a little bit about what the Foragers do and what the program is at Sprouts. Innovation, right? That's a big word. When you break down kind of what the Foragers are looking for in innovation, it's disruption or breakthrough. So it's easier to say what it isn't. It's not line extensions. It's not things like that. It's actual innovation. When you think of a disruption, that's something that might create a new subcategory, and it requires maybe a different production process. I'd like to think of Simply, OJ, when they came out with the carafe, that was something that was real innovative at the time. And then also breakthrough innovation. So that creates a whole new category to the world. I think of Beyond Meat back in the day when that came out was a breakthrough innovation. So we're looking for taste first. Everything starts with taste. What is the point of differentiation? Is it a treasure hunt for our customers? Is it innovative? Is it trending? Is it first to market or exclusive? And then what's your brand purpose and what's your brand mission? That's just the basics of what the foraging team is looking for. That might be a little bit different than maybe the merchandising team that's looking for different kinds of innovation. So where do we find it all? And what is a forager, right? My title has forager in it, and I always get asked, what is a forager? What is that? We're not out picking mushrooms out in the wilderness like most people think. We're actually collecting this innovation through a whole ecosystem of different avenues, right? And it really starts with our merch team. You're gonna see a lot of those folks in the crowd today, but they're seeing innovation and bringing it to us as well. We're at trade shows. We do pitch slams probably once a month. There's a new item portal that we have at Sprouts. We use our VC partners. We're looking on TikTok just like everybody else, and there's brands and broker partnerships that we have. So across all of those different avenues is where we're really finding and looking for that treasure hunt of innovation. So what is the foraging program, right? If you haven't been in a Sprouts and have not seen this display, it's an innovation center display. It's a test and learn for 90 days where you're able to bring in small emerging brands. We can work with you to learn about how your products are going to be perceived by the customer. So over 250 brands last year participated in the Innovation Center, and that's growing year over year. Innovation Center displays are in all Sprouts, and select brands from that 90-day test and learn have the opportunity to graduate into the everyday set. So that's kind of the ultimate goal, is to bring in, work with partnering smaller innovative brands, test and learn what the customer's perception is. You could test your marketing, social, digital. There's a lot. You could test retail, packaging, all kinds of different things you can do during the 90 days and help prepare you for, we call it prime time on the shelf at Sprouts. And with that, I'm going to pass it to Brody.
Thanks. All right, so getting into the nitty-gritty of the foraging department here, what do we have to offer the smaller brands, the emerging brands? First off, lower startup costs for any brand that's on the Innovation Center. The biggest thing that we have to boast about is we waive the free fill. And when it comes to an emerging brand, that's a huge benefit there. A lot of smaller brands, they're strapped for cash flow is an issue, and we allow them to have that extra cash up front to reinvest in your brand. And what does that mean? You either put that into social media campaigns, you go for mobile coupons, e-commerce. That's one of a few different kickbacks, I guess we give. There are a few others that we offer through certain distributors, and we get through that as we move along the process there. Our collaboration with our distributor partners is very good. We utilize a few different distributors that really want to do well for Sprouts, and some have even created teams specifically for the foraging team at Sprouts. So we have a really strong relationship with them to where they actually we call it the white glove system, where they'll actually take you through every step of the process as you're getting set up with them and making sure that you're hitting checkpoints as you go, and that there are minimal surprises, hopefully none, but life happens, right? And then also we offer marketing and media support. So as we progress as a Forager team, we're also evolving as a marketing team as well at Sprouts. They're really getting on board with helping tell your story right at the store, whether that's in-store signage or monthly ads, weekly ads. There's a few different opportunities that we offer, all part of that. And that'll kind of lead us into the next slide here, where over the last several months, we've been working with our marketing team, and we've launched what we call the New For You landing page. This is a real QR code, so if you want to scan that, you could see it in real time here. This is really exciting. We just launched this in August, and basically it gives a good idea of a few of the brands that we'd like to feature on the Innovation Center, a little bit about their story, and then you could actually click right underneath and go directly to the website and actually purchase those through Instacart or Sprouts.com. We also have a section on the New For You landing page where we allow the customer to know where the product is going after the Innovation Center. So if the merchants decide to pick up a brand after the 90 days on the Innovation Center, we can tell the story of where to find them next. You know, if they're coming back every week, every other week on the Innovation Center, and all of a sudden they're gone, that's a bad problem to have, right? So we want to know, we want the customers to know where to find them at the store, whether it's in the vitamin department, the grocery department, the bulk department. So this is really exciting for us, and that's going to evolve as the foraging team evolves as well. All right, two of the most common questions I get on a regular basis with a brand that's about to be on the Innovation Center is, how do I succeed on the Innovation Center, and how do I stay relevant while I'm there? And that's through social media. You know, we do a lot with Instagram on our Sprouts platform, but we utilize the brands and their willingness, their passion to actually sell their product. And these are just a few examples here. LinkedIn posts, Instagram posts, where the brands actually come into the store. They're really passionate about their brand. This is their life right here. So they're going into the store and they're showing why they're so excited about it. They love to call us out on LinkedIn. I love that. I always try to respond and you know, keep it hyped up and get everybody excited about what you see right there. It's these people living their lives and trying to sell their product. What better way than to get in front of people with, you know, on the social media aspect there. 45% of our customer is either a Gen Z or a millennial. And what does that mean? The phones are in our faces all the time. I'm a millennial. I use TikTok all the time. I have to convince my wife it's for work, trying to get all the trends and everything. But we're always on our phones, right? And so what's the best way to get in front of people, especially the 45% of the younger generation? Put it on the phone, put it on Instagram, put it on TikTok. Those are really great, cheap options to actually make sure that your brand is picked up by our customer and, you know, any new customers that may come down the road. All right, and then to kind of close up here, think of the business in a general aspect as a puzzle, right? And so Sprouts is just one piece of a big puzzle, right? And we kind of put the pieces together. Emerging brands, supply chain, distribution, customer, capital investments, all of these are really imperative to doing business at Sprouts. It's not just the brand and Sprouts, it's everything in between. And if one piece is missing or doesn't get executed appropriately, the whole picture is falling apart. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of the brands in a good way and making sure that they're well aware of every checkpoint leading up to doing business on the Innovation Center. And then while they're on there, we want to make sure that they're successful. They're meeting their POs, their execution dates, and you know, that's just us in a nutshell, I suppose. So I guess we're done a little early here. We'll head to a Q&A session.
Yeah, one thing I will say on this is, on this last slide, is that we've been doing this for a couple years. It's amazing how much we've learned by really getting in the weeds with some of those brands, and we realize how hard it really is to bring a brand to market. And we are really trying to continue to improve where the headwinds are. And so you'll see us, continue to try to, whether it's working with our distributors or, with the brands or what have you. We're going to continue to evolve the program so that we can make it a more friendly, transparent place for small brands to come to market, and quite frankly, have better success rates. Because that's the worst thing for us, is that we start with a brand at very early stages, and for whatever reason, a couple of these things aren't ready or the transparency's not there. It's gut-wrenching to us too, because we spend a lot of time and energy, and when we make a decision that we're going to carry a brand, we really want it to be successful. So we're going to continue to figure out a way to have more success by learning what works and what doesn't work, and that changes every day. So you have our commitment on that. So yeah, with that, I think Nancy's going to come up and fire some questions off.
Great. Oops. Great. Well, thank you for that presentation. And got a good crowd here. Sorry. My colleague Doug could not make it to do this today, so I'm stepping in. So just to start, and again, just so everyone knows, again, we've got, Kim is the chief forager, Scott in the middle is vice president forager, and then Brody here is our foraging manager. And all from Sprouts Market. So what are the most effective things a brand can do to be successful during their time in the Forager program?
All right.
So what are the most effective things a brand can do to be effective during their time in the Forager program?
Yeah. So be transparent with your retailers, right? I can tell you you want to make sure that you're being very transparent from the very beginning, letting us know any roadblocks that you may have. In order to be a successful brand on the shelf, you want to make sure that you make it to the shelf, right? There's too many times where a brand overcommits and underperforms because they're small and they haven't had a chance to really have a retailer anchor yet. And so the initial answer when I say, hey, do you want business? It's always yes. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to get it as soon as I can. And oftentimes a PO gets missed or a PO gets shorted. And now we're 3 weeks away from the Innovation Center actually resetting. That could all be avoided by simply being transparent with us and allowing us to push it back a month or 2 months. It's always easy for us to push it back. It's when we have to execute, when we're not at 100%, that's where we want to avoid it. So that's really the number one thing right there for me. Number two would be, while you're on the Innovation Center, make sure you're trying to sell your product. It's not, I've made it on the Innovation Center, now I'm going to step back to the sideline. It's, I'm on social media, I'm trying to do mobile coupons, I'm trying to sell my product in any way possible. Make sure you're supporting your brand. Your brand is your baby. You want to make sure to try to put it out there in front of as many people as possible, get to as many new customers as possible. Those are two of many, many ways to be successful on that Innovation Center.
And I think too, like, sometimes brands don't know what they don't know. So what we're trying to get better at is, how do we continue to probe and ask questions so that we can try to identify areas of opportunity? We have partners that we work with that are really good at this. And so whether it's putting them into a boot camp with, hey, we're going to take you through, kind of all of these things, just to make sure that we set ourselves up for success. Because there's nothing worse than we go to launch a brand, everything's going to activate, and then we can't get the product there. And then it's a month late, and then it's really hard to come back from a kind of botched launch plan. So that's one of the things that we can help with, and making sure that you're being transparent with us and asking for help if you need help. We have a lot of partners that we can tap into.
So I'm hearing transparency, everyone, for all the would-be companies out there. How much weight do you place on first to market or exclusivity when making final decisions for the foraging program?
That's a great question. We get asked that question a lot about exclusivity or first to market. We put a lot of weight. We have a scorecard that we look at many different things, but exclusivity or first to market is something that's very important to Sprouts. we know our customers very well, right? And they like to treasure hunt. They like to find something they can't find anywhere else. And being first to market is a huge step for Sprouts to have that, especially when you're thinking about the foraging program. We put some resources into helping emerging brands. There's also some concessions on free fills. There's different things and benefits that you have coming into the foraging program that in return we do look for a first to market and or exclusivity. Is it a deal breaker? No, but if you're in other big box conventional retailers, it's going to be a lot harder for us to differentiate ourselves at Sprouts if you can find that item across the street. So we do put a lot of weight on that, and we will talk about that as we're reviewing your items, but it's not necessarily a deal breaker.
So what are some examples of the marketing options available to emerging brands?
Yeah, so we have all of the typical things that like a brand would have available if you were on the shelf every day. So our shopper marketing program has lots of different opportunities in there. One of the biggest things that we see, at least with the new brands that is having a lot of success, is that if the brand already has a really good social media platform, which a lot of brands do, a lot of the brands that end up on the innovation center are D2C brands that are getting into retail for the first time, and so by having that already kind of built-in audience, and then for us to be able to just kind of leverage that with our marketing, that's kind of the win-win. Is what we see is the brands driving traffic by touching their social media platform. Hey, we're in Sprouts, and a lot of times, even these D2C brands, their customers are saying, "Hey, if you guys sold your product in a Sprouts, we would buy it," and so that is information for us, and we try to help those brands get into a Sprouts, which is kind of a whole nother learning curve than just coming to market for the first time. So we're trying to really kind of leverage that piece of it, is how do we really talk to the customers that already love the product and then bring our customers along for the journey as well on our side. Those two things together seem to be really working right now.
I think you said there are more than 400 stores now nationally. Is that right? Okay, so can you elaborate on regional opportunities to smaller emerging brands?
I can take that. Yeah, so obviously having the Innovation Center in 400 stores is great, right? We can get brands in fast, we can learn, but at the end of the day, a lot of small brands can't go into 400 stores. So we recently kind of carved out 3 different markets. So the LA market, Texas, and Florida, where we can launch brands in 30-ish stores. And so we basically kind of version out those schematics on the Innovation Center in those markets so that brands can start in a smaller subset of stores and then graduate to all stores when it's appropriate. That was just one of the things that for us was important, and we want to get really good at launching brands that early on. So we literally just started the California store pilot.
The beginning of this month here, and then
in July.
Yeah, and we're launching Texas and Florida in November.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Great. This next question should have been one of our polling questions. Approximately how many new items do you see a year?
That's a great question. I'm going to do a quick show of hands. You think it's higher or lower than 10,000 items we see? You say higher? Higher than 20,000? Higher than 30,000? So we had 30,000 new items submitted to our portal alone last year. That doesn't include that big circle in that one slide. That's pitch slams and emails and shows and calls and discussions. So it's probably north of 50, 60,000 new items that we see a year. And as you know, Sprouts has smaller box formats. There's no shortage of new items in the world, as you guys know, right? So it's a challenge for us to stand out and to really find that next big thing, but there's definitely no shortage of new items out there. It's about 50 to 60,000 items a year.
Okay, so now what are some of the common mistakes to avoid if selected for the Forager program at Sprouts? So you got through that 30,000 products, and now you're in. So now, what do you not want to do?
Yeah, this is kind of part two to the first question that I answered. Again, going back to the overcommitting and underperforming, right? So you want to make sure that you make it to the finish line. Oh, sorry, can't hear me. Sorry. So you want to make sure that we get you there, right, at the finish line. And if you're under 100% by the time you get there, that's never a good recipe for success. If you start at 80%, that's as high as you're ever going to make it by the time you get there. So how to avoid those kind of issues of overcommitting, underperforming. Again, with the transparency thing, you need to make sure that I'm aware of what's going on in the business. If I have committed to you bringing your brand onto the Innovation Center, we need to be in contact, right? And if you keep saying that you're good, you're going to make it, don't worry about it, you either could or couldn't make it. So if you're not telling me what's not going or what's happening in the business, if the co-packer couldn't make X amount of product, that's not a good thing. You need to let me know. We could always push you back. Another common mistake, I guess not a mistake, but an opportunity for us is when you're on the table, you don't do anything with it. You want to make sure that you're trying to go in and doing demos. You want to make sure to do as much as possible when it comes to selling your product at Sprouts. So the brands that I feel have the most opportunity or common no-nos of coming into the Innovation Center, you want to make sure that you're doing everything possible while still making it to the finish line. And then after you make it to the finish line, how do you make sure that your brand is successful? So just making sure that you're doing the right things and be involved with your merchant team, be involved with the distributor team. We utilize a couple of great distributors with Sprouts. Make sure that they're just as in the loop as I am. And that way we could all be successful together. At the end of the day, this needs to be a mutually beneficial partnership and not just one side winning and the other side underperforming. So,
yeah, if I could just elaborate too on Brody's point is the foraging team is different than a regular category management reset schedule, right? So we're very, 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 very flexible. That's the beauty of the foraging team is that we can move quick, nimble. So if there's an issue with a co-packer or we committed to July and we're coming up toward those timelines, just communicate with us. We could push it back a month. We could push it back 2 months. It's not as rigid, maybe as a reset schedule. So that's one of the biggest things is don't overcommit and be as transparent as possible. We're not going to get upset. We'd much rather you say, "Hey, my co-packer, they dropped the ball. I'm gonna miss that timeline." No problem. We can move you forward a month and make sure that we give it the best chance possible.
And I would say too, just be open for feedback too on the early on when you're presenting the brand, even if it's an idea in a Ziploc bag. I mean, there's many brands that we've seen come to market where that has been the case, and it's super rewarding for us to get to the final stage and actually see it come to market. But there's a lot of brands that very passionate about what they're doing and the product that they're developing. And I would just say be open-minded to the discussion, whether it's packaging, whether it's taste. We're going to do the best we can to be as transparent with you all as we can. So the best brands are the ones that were brought to market with kind of both, when we collaborated together on, different ideas. So just be open. Yeah.
So I'm hearing be open, communicate, and transparency. Those are the tips. So you talked a lot about differentiation. How important are certifications, for example, organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, when making final decisions for the foraging team?
I think they're very important, as you saw with our core customer and what's important to them. And if it's important to them, then that's our focus. So that's one of the top things that we look for are what are the key attributes of the product that our customers are going to want. And so, not every case is going to have an attribute, but, at the end of the day, we think about things, like I said, what's the next generation of trends, and what are the customers telling us they're going to want? Are those products available? If not, who do we work with, whether it's a brand or maybe it's even our private label team, to fill a white space or a gap that we see, with some of the trends. And then, quite frankly, that's part of the relationship, the ongoing relationship that we have with brands that we launch, is that once they kind of graduate on and they're in the inline sets, and maybe they're even in other retailers, is how do we still continue to partner together on innovation? So the brand's going to continue to ideate. Let's do it together, because we can tell you what our customers are looking for, which is super important. And, we can also collaborate with kind of what you guys are seeing and where you are trying to take the brand. And we've launched a lot of successful kind of, after the fact innovation with existing brands. And that kind of keeps our ecosystem going as well.
Okay. What is the first step for emerging brands to get noticed at Sprouts? So this is the first step to get noticed.
Hunt down Brody.
Yeah. Smoke signals, the biggest one wins. No, just be in contact, right? Representation is not a requirement for doing business with Sprouts, but having a broker is a great first step. It gets you that I guess, shortcut to getting to Sprouts. A lot of the times I have a standing meeting with several brokers. Some of you guys are right here, on a monthly basis, where they pitch several brands to me. That's a great way to get into Sprouts. Reach out to us directly. Our emails aren't top secret, so it's pretty easy to find out, my email or Scott or Kim. But if you come to us and just simply say, hey, I'm interested in coming to Sprouts, how do I do it? Odds are we're going to send you down the path of getting submitted in the new item portal, which is always submit in the new item portal. All of you guys remember that. That's a great first step for us when we're taking a brand and reviewing it. We look at the portal first, so that's found at sprouts.com/new vendors. And if you reach out to us, we'll let you know that as well. But that's typically the first steps right there. Get in contact, send us an email, do a new item portal submission, and just make sure that your name is out there, right? And then as we go along and do business as usual, we'll be picking up out of the pond of thousands of items. We'll be choosing different ones to review at every so often. Every week we're usually taking a look at several items. I think Laura and I sit down and go over, I would say, at least 50 items a week, and we scorecard every single one of those. So again, best way to get in is just send us an email, do a new item submission portal, and then the rest is up to you guys.
And I will add, just because I'm on the New Hope side or the show side, I would suggest us being very respectful and mindful of the buyers, because we have had a lot of stories of people following them into the bathroom or stalking them to a degree that's not going to help you. So they do have a system that really is the best way to go about.
Yeah, with that, we have, we're here at the show. There's an army of our category managers that are in the room, and they'll be walking the show. So, and we do truly work. We're an extension of our merch team, so we all kind of work together to identify brands that kind of are who we want to nurture. And so, we'll be around. And I just want to thank New Hope for New Hope and Newtopia. This is cool how you guys are kind of creating something different. At Sprouts, we love being different. So I like how you're trying to change up the trade show environment. And
So balls and everything.
Yeah. Yep. And so I just appreciate, all the brands being here to support us too, and even the brands that we may be launching in the near future. So,
are you at a booth here, or just walking the floor? Walking. Okay, great. Okay, well, do you want to add anything else or wrap up?
You got anything?
You're good.
No, thank you everybody for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.